campus
Mhm.
at the Kentucky Humane Society, like in the
Did you do a drive-by like I did and
um
just jump out of the car? Or
no, I think I did one of those maybe like a few weeks later when I was at the East
oh,
Campus, and
okay.
I saw Jeff and
Okay.
Ethan come outside, and I like opened the door and was like,
Yes.
"Hey."
There was a lot
um
of traffic around East Campus.
oh yeah. It was a popular place, I guess. Everybody
Yes.
knew that, they
Yeah.
might get a Ethan sighting.
Yes.
Um
Uh-huh.
but going back to my mom, I know she was in the hospital in January of 2022, and that was when Ethan had his um 1 year anniversary party at
Yeah.
PB or PB and
J's.
J's.
PB&J's. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I remember leaving. I went and visited my mom, and then she was like, "Oh, where are you going?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm going over to celebrate Ethan." And then she was like, "Okay." And then I remember coming back there afterwards and like showing her pictures, and
Oh,
she knew how much Ethan was like important to me, and
yeah.
sadly she passed away 2 months later. And I remember the first event that I felt comfortable going to was Ethan. It was at a restaurant. I can't
Okay.
remember the name. It was like April of 2022. Um I think it was in Germantown.
Mm.
I
Okay.
don't know, Jeff, if you can remember. You've
Yeah,
been to
yeah.
so
There
many
was.
events.
We did a couple things. I think for the animal shelter at a couple places in Germantown,
Sure.
raising some awareness
Yeah.
or some
Uh-huh.
money or something like that. They had a dog event or something there. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
so I went, and that was really the first social event that I went to after my mom passed away. And I just, saw Ethan and just gave him a huge hug. And I remember Jeff was there, and I told him that my mom passed away like 2 weeks ago prior. And he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And he gave me a hug. And
Yeah.
yeah, so it's
And
one
then
of
you
those
met
things.
me the next month in May of 2022. And aren't you freaking glad you did?
And then, yeah, and then you have Heather again from North Carolina, and because because this is a big experiment, and we were trying to figure this out. I just saw the 321 pop up there. And so I believe it had just started recording there. I should have gone when I didn't see the 321 pop up before. I should have hit that again to make sure that it started. So I think we're now recording. But anyway, so
Oh, that,
Heather from North Carolina comes in town. The first time you came in was for Wagon Tail and brought your
uh-huh.
mom with you from North Carolina, and was she? So I know that you were following Ethan. Was she following Ethan, or did she just think you were just like pretty crazy?
Well, yeah, she's done that for a while, but we both have a venturous spirit. So I remember telling her a few months back, I said, I've always had the YOLO mentality, and you just have to, you can't take 1 minute for granted and live your life. So I told her, I just said, I've got to go to Kentucky. I've got to go meet Ethan. I've just got to go. She said, okay, well, let me know when. I was like, well, how about like next month? So we ended up booking the flights and flew in on I guess that was a Sunday or
Yeah.
Saturday.
The event was the event Sunday?
It was probably on a Sunday. Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, because we flew in Sunday, I think Sunday morning, and then we flew out Tuesday.
Oh,
Yeah.
the first trip was quick.
Well, the second one, I don't know if you remember when I came for the to watch the awards.
Yeah, that one was real quick.
I flew in Tuesday and flew
Oh
back out
yeah,
Wednesday.
yeah. That was
Yeah.
for the
American
Hero
Humane.
The
Dog
watch
Award
party.
watch party.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Our watch party. Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
remember Jeff coming to KHS, and you were unloading a truck and Ethan was sitting there. I was like, hey, Jeff. And you're like, oh, hey. And then you're like, Heather? What are you doing here? Because I think Debbie and little Debbie were the only ones that knew, maybe,
Uh-huh.
that I
Yeah.
was coming. You were like, "What are you doing here?"
You
You just
just,
Wow,
never know what you just.
what a long way, what a long journey we've come, all of us,
oh, good.
in the last
Yeah.
But
several.
I always want to say to people, and Diana and anybody else, like,
Hi.
don't ever give up on your dream of meeting Ethan.
Oh, I won't.
Because I see people in like Louisville or like, Lexington, they're like, oh, I just got to meet him. I'm like, you're literally right down the road.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
600 miles down the road. So, it can always happen. So, it just takes different times. So, don't ever give up that hope that you'll meet him. And he's
Yeah.
worth every minute. I remember the first time that we were at Wagon Tail and Ethan and Jeff, I mean, Jeff was there, obviously, he had to show up. But
Yeah.
they
He
were
just
walking
stayed
towards
home.
us, and just when I saw Ethan, I thought I was going to be crying. I wasn't crying. It was just because he has such an aura about
Yeah.
him, and I was just in awe, and I was just so happy. And then I met everybody else, and I was like, oh my! And the Travolta was there. I was like, he really exists.
Oh, yeah.
Travolta.
Yeah.
So it was
Oh,
just, I mean, it's
little
just such an
Travolta.
amazing moment when you have that first encounter.
Yeah.
So to anyone who's especially local, like, just make it happen.
Exactly. Because they'll never forget that moment,
Mhm.
ever.
And then
No.
that's Dad met Marfay and Patty and little Debbie and Dana. Yeah. And Dr. Bewley. So yeah. I'll stop talking now.
Yeah.
No, it's very. I really like hearing the stories, and we go. So now, part of the mission has become, never thought, obviously then never thought this was going to be, something that we would work on, but
Traveling
yeah,
court cases.
traveling around everywhere and running into folks
Yeah.
that will, know Ethan from at these courthouses or random, folks that we run into, and I get so many. I get so many random. I was telling Debbie earlier today. I get so many, like, sort of random things about people that want to, uh, like, want you to be involved in like something that's going on and you just got to be, you just got to be very diligent.
Yeah. You have
Because
to do your
one of the things, and I really hadn't thought about even saying this on this because I was just going to tell Debbie earlier. One of the things I like about this podcast thing that we do is one of my favorite things to do. I really like the live part of it, and quite honestly, because it takes away the editing part that I feel like I've got to do. Because if I've got to edit it, then I'll get into this mindset of I've got to fix every small little thing.
single
The other
thing.
the
Yeah.
other thing is everything is transparent. Like, there's nothing. What we're doing is there's nothing to hide, and it's all about trying to get support for the things that we're doing, and it has morphed into, hey, let's make sure that these people that have that are committing these crimes against these animals are prosecuted right. You get the law passed and you think, oh wow, this is an amazing thing. It's going to be great for people in Kentucky. It's going to be great for animals in Kentucky. And all of a sudden you start getting these messages of this is going on, this is going on, this is going on, and you think, okay, I'm going to pull this up on the court net, and these people are going to be charged with the felony law, and it's just not that way.
No.
And so it's turned
not.
into, making phone calls, driving around to different courthouses, and so many things we hadn't thought, that we would get into
Whatever.
at one point. But
Right.
I mean, it's sort of like that with his story anyway, because to sit back, way at the beginning and think that there would be a law, to think that there would be a movie, to think that any a Bell Award, a Volunteers Service Award, an exhibit in the Fraser History Museum, just to think that any of those things could happen.
I know.
Like if
Just
you had
incredible.
thought about it back then, you would thought that they were crazy, which brings me back
Yeah.
to what I said earlier was, his legacy is really about bringing people together. There's not none of that stuff happens, I think one of the very coolest things, like I said earlier, of his legacy will be bringing people together. The most important thing will be this law, and none of that
Yes.
happens without all of the people that have supported Ethan, whether it was phone calls or emails or text or financial donations or donations of time or volunteering or prayers or whatever. I don't take for granted any time that people sit around and just think about him, whether that is I hope things are going well, or I hope this happens, or I hope that happens. um, it's just been a really cool journey to see, and to reach people from all over, all over the country, all over the planet, that
Yeah.
that feel some connection to Ethan is pretty cool to me. That's what I like the
It's
most about him.
very cool. It's
Yeah.
When
very
I told people, and I think I probably told Debbie this before, like I'd never even been to Kentucky
uh-huh.
before. I'm like, what am I going to do in Kentucky? Like I knew Churchill Downs and like Fort Knox, and I did know the abbreviation for the state and the
Seriously,
capital.
I mean, do you know any abbreviation for any state?
I do. I know almost all of them, but the M's and the
Have to,
N's and all those
uh-huh.
get me confused. But like I had never been to Kentucky. And when I came last a few weeks ago, somebody was saying, "Well, do you have family there?" I said, "Yeah, I do." And I
Uh-huh.
said, "It happens to be through a rescue dog." And of course, then I have to go into Ethan's whole story. But I
Right.
would have never imagined in, before, January 29th or even May 2022, when I met you, I thought it was going to be like, I'm going once, because that's usually how I am. I'll do anything once, let me go, have fun. And then I was like,
Yeah. It's
it
more.
was just so important to me. And then it became important to my mom. And then, my dad started. So it's kind of, again, that ripple effect that we know of.
Yeah.
And when Jeff, when you were talking about the law, I had always volunteered with, rescue places and SPCA, even though I'm allergic to dogs. But I had never gotten as involved with the law. So now I'm following a case. I've got to get some more facts. It just happened. This person, I'm not going to say, they rescued 120 dogs from her house from a puppy mill.
Yeah.
She got 6 charges because they charged her per breed.
Oh my heavens.
Which I'd never heard of that before.
That's a new one. No, we
They
haven't
charged because there were 6 different breeds there, like
my.
doodles. They charged her per breed.
With cruelty.
So
Is this
I've
North
got to
Carolina?
do some more research. So I'll hit up y'all legal experts. But and right now I think they're misdemeanors. She also has. I went back and looked at her. She has identity theft charges. She had other animal abuse. So you, Jeff, and Debbie, because y'all are the investigators now, and y'all could be on Dateline. But that again has rippled to. I said Ethan's legacy and the ripple effect crosses state lines. It doesn't. I mean, you got Diana there in New York. So again, it's not just what you're doing in Kentucky, or even neighboring Indiana. It's that has spread to so many other places.
Right.
And that's North Carolina, Heather.
What's that?
That was North Carolina that you're talking about.
Yes, in Raleigh.
Yeah.
I forgot her name. I printed her stuff out yesterday, but yeah, she had 6 charges for 6 breeds.
You guys are looks like average wise, and there's 2 or 3 places that rank states for animal welfare. You guys are right around 34. North Carolina.
Right.
So not quite mid range. You're on the bottom section with us. So
you're with us.
Jeff, do you know what New York is?
Let's see. Let me pull this laced one up. This website that I go to that sort of combines them puts New York at an average of right at 28. So you're kind of in the mid tier also. And
you know what I found?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. I found like the further you go up north, it almost the better it gets. Like because I follow Muddy or South Florida Rescue now in Florida, and they don't want to say ship. They transport the dogs to New Hampshire and other places, and it feels like the further north you go geographically, the better it gets.
Better.
Yeah,
Jeff was talking about that the other day.
What's interesting is, there's a lot of shelters up north, New England, that need animals, and so you look
Isn't that
for some
something?
real, you look for some really good transports that can transport up there. Um, because there's a lot of shelters down south that are completely full, but there's some shelters up north that in New England area that need animals, need
Overflow.
dogs. I will say, Florida. Now that you say that, Heather, it reminds me to look at, and you bring up Muddy Paws. Um, Florida, doesn't surprise me, is ranked number 7 because when Khaleesi's case came up, that was one. When I first adopted Ethan, there were people that were sending me messages and pictures of dogs all over the country that were going, "This dog is just like Ethan. This dog is just like Ethan.
Yeah.
Post this. Can you post this? Can you post this?" And I that was when I at the very beginning thought, okay, I need to be very diligent and responsible in what I post because I have a responsibility to the people that follow Ethan to make sure that I have done my due diligence to follow through with all of the stuff to make sure things are true and they're not fake and they're not whatever. And the one that the first one that really caught me was Khaleesi down in Florida, uh,
Uh-huh.
and the work that the police department and ACO or the sheriff's department in Florida put into catching those people to the point that they were tracking phones and pinging where their phones were
Wow.
because they claimed that the dog wasn't theirs was really pretty cool. And so that's the difference between Florida, who's ranked at a number
And
7, and
and
Kentucky, who's ranked at a
Kentucky.
47, or North Carolina at
Yeah.
34, or New York at 28. Uh, the laws
Mm.
down there are just so much better. And D, if you want to click on the link and come on in, D says it was Hurricane Andrew that prompted Florida to provide shelter for pets during evacuations, and I believe they just passed
Oh,
something that said
Didn't they just
if
pass a law that it was you can't abandon your animal during a
can
during
storm?
the
yeah, you
storm.
cannot abandon your animal during the storm because a lot of people were just leaving them there and splitting and taking off.
Right.
So that
Mm.
so Florida did, and that got us involved in a couple different things with Muddy Paws. Khaleesi and Dade. Um,
Oh yeah, I forgot about Jade.
some really cool stories that we were, blessed enough to be able to meet when we went down there. But Florida's got some good laws, and it doesn't surprise me that they're ranked up there high. So.
Yeah.
They
Well,
might have the more horrific case because it seems like, especially with the South Florida rescue, which is used to be Muddy Paws, it seems like they do have some of the most horrific cases I've ever seen. But
mm,
again, they do have people following up with the laws. I think was it the Sheriff Moreno? Does that sound about right? Um,
In
I
Florida,
forgot what his
mm,
name was, but the Palm Beach County sheriff. I mean, he prosecutes everybody. He takes it very seriously. So it's kind of
oh,
like you know, an odd situation. They may have the worst cases, but they have the best law enforcement of it.
right,
interesting.
right.
You know what? In the state of Kentucky, though, there are obviously we have so many counties, and every single county seems to have a different idea of how to enforce the law or interpret the law. So that's kind of what we're up against. But I told Jeff the other day, it's getting interesting now. Now, when I reach out to a county clerk somewhere in another county, they will recognize when I bring up Ethan's law.
Mm,
So it
good.
is changing. It is slowly. They'll say, "Oh yeah, 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 Ethan's law. We know Ethan's law." So
And you get and Debbie, who is so wonderful, and I have always, through my life, I've always been of this mindset that I can do all of this myself, and I've got so many people that ask for help, and I'm like, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. But through Ethan, I have found so many people that are so gracious and willing to help, and so I went to Debbie and said, "Can you take on like keeping track of the court's dates and calling places?" And she does a fabulous job, and so she
well,
starts
Yes,
calling
you do,
around,
Debbie.
and people recognize that, and it's those small little
oh
steps
yeah,
of making the phone call to ask the question to the point of making
yeah,
sure that his face is in the courtroom.
Uh-huh.
that goes a long way because the other interesting thing that, and I'm hoping to get there's a judge that we know that I've reached out to that I'm hoping that we can get on the podcast. Retired judge. He's not an active judge, and I won't say his name until he agrees to come on.
Yeah, but we really hope he does.
Yeah, he would be fabulous. We ran into him at the courthouse in Jefferson County the other day. Jefferson County. So for anyone that's not from Kentucky watching, Jefferson County incorporates Louisville, and it's the biggest county, biggest city in Kentucky. Their courthouse, their court system, works much differently
Mm,
than anywhere around the state. Like we go anywhere
right.
around the state, and while depending upon when the case is called, we might be there from 5 minutes to 3 hours. They are at least calling
Exactly.
cases. If court starts at 9,
Right.
they are calling cases at 9.
They started. Yes. The
In Jefferson
judge is on
County,
the bench. Started calling.
yes. In Jefferson County, if court starts at 9, the judge is on the bench, but that judge could be talking about what's in her Amazon cart.
Yes.
What's
Because
going on in the local community, because they are bound by, it seems like, when the attorney and the defendant show up, which seems
exactly.
very odd.
At the
Why are we at their mercy? But in Jefferson County, that
yeah,
district court is, hey, the defendant was, if you're on the 9 o'clock docket, it's just whenever the attorney can show up. And so the attorney might even say to the defendant, I can't get there till 11:30. Don't get there till 11:30. And the attorney might show up at 11:30, but otherwise court is just kind of talking with folks and nothing's going on until an attorney walks in with a file, gives it to
and then
the court reporter, whoever that is, and then the judge reads the case, they handle the case, and they go right back to just talking about small talk.
waiting
It's
for the
such a
next.
Yeah.
It's all attorney driven, which is very odd. I mean, it's
such
not
a waste
judge
of time.
driven. It's yes, yes. And if an attorney doesn't show up when they're supposed to be there, lunch break is at 12. Well, then that person just doesn't show up because their attorney didn't make it. And then it just gets pushed to another docket.
Yeah, I understand that because my husband was an attorney,
Oh,
and he used to come home many nights and say he was sitting in a courtroom. He would go into the actual courtroom for 5 minutes, state his
yeah.
case, whatever, and have to go sit outside in a room for 2 more hours until maybe he had to go back. So he had a lot of very slow days.
Oh,
So
they're
I
all,
know from an attorney's point of view what it's about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we're trying to find out how many pre-trial conferences that a person is allowed. I don't know that there's ever an answer. There's probably not a specific number, but the pre-trial conferences just go on. And
Yeah,
on.
it is. So we went for David Howery, who's one of, I'll put it out here,
A
one of the most
monster.
despicable people you'll ever want to deal with. In 2009, had over 195 counts of second-degree animal cruelty against him. Spent, Debbie, what, like 2 months in jail in 2009?
2 months out of a year
Out of a
sentence.
year
Yeah,
sentence. Was told he couldn't be involved with animals anymore. 2021, he's charged with over 100 counts of second-degree animal cruelty.
exactly.
The first in 2009 was Adair County, Kentucky.
Correct.
2021 was McCracken County, Kentucky, if I'm right.
Yes, McCracken.
And what was his jail? What was his time spent in jail in 2021? Do you remember, Debbie?
Yes, yeah. He got a year again and he spent 60 days.
60 days in jail. 2021.
Yes.
Now we're into 2020, early 2025, and he's now charged with 19 counts of felony torture and 12 counts of second degree animal cruelty.
Right.
Why? Why is this person just not convicted? And we go to court the other day in McCracken County, and if I'm just estimating, David Howie's case was probably 25, 26th person called up. Would you say that's right, Debbie?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
And of those, let's say he was 25, 20,
Uh-huh.
24 of them were just
Well,
moved to
yes.
another date. One
Same
person,
day and yeah.
one person asked for a trial, and
Mm-hmm.
his trial date was set for like January 8th and 9th. The other 23 people were just moved to another date.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why isn't, like, if you are if you're the defense attorney or you are the public defender, why aren't you just required to go to the, if you're not ready to present this case, why aren't you required to go to the prosecutor and say, let's move this to another date and save everyone's time, the
Yeah.
judge's time, the defendant's time, the prosecutor's time, and you just move it on. It goes from on CourtNet to another date, and you don't get brought. You don't have to show up that day. You don't bring them in from jail. You don't have people coming in from town, out of town. It makes no sense to me why. Well,
No.
I think it all comes down to finances, but it makes no sense to me why you can't
Uh-uh.
ahead of time figure that out. And the
No.
judge's time, he's just up there. I mean, David
Just,
Howard was probably 25 or 26, and we were only 30 minutes in. I mean, he was
yeah.
flying through stuff because he was going. The public defender was standing up going, "I'm not ready. Can we push this to another date?" And he'd say, okay, August
Yep.
26th, bam, next case.
Yeah.
I'm not ready for this. Can we push this to another date? Okay, September 6th. Okay, move on. I mean, they were going through
Yeah.
them fast, but
Oh yeah. They were
why?
moving along. Yeah, they certainly
This,
were. But
this doesn't make any
the
sense.
and the problem too, you think, okay, they're finally indicted by the grand jury. So we think you've got it over this big hurdle. So then you're going to go in for these pre-trial conferences where they can make a plea or they can, well, you think maybe that happens in one or two pre-trial conferences? No, no. Well, he'll be on the third one. So
It's like they're perpetually
yes,
unresolved. Like
yes.
you've got to finalize them at some point.
Some point, where does this stop?
If you keep just
That
continuing it, like nothing's ever
resolved.
resolved.
No. And the only good thing, like we've said with David Howery, is he is being held on $25,000 bond. So he is in jail.
Yeah.
Good.
So, excuse the language, his ass ain't getting out. Like, there ain't
No,
nobody
Good.
vouching for that dude. You
no.
know, I
At
mean, and he's tied
least,
to some.
when we have the judge,
Go ahead, Debbie.
I said, we need the judge to come on and help us understand why the process is working or is not working. And why we have these pre-trial conferences that go on and on and on. So
Yeah.
that'll be a very interesting
And hopefully
podcast.
this dude gets, eventually he's tied with some other rescues around the
Yeah.
country, and hopefully he gets charged with some federal crimes. And I will say this: you try to sandwich things with good and bad and good. The reason we saw this gentleman in the courthouse as a retired judge was because Jefferson County realized their system is messed up and they
Yeah.
want to fix it. And so they actually hired him to come in and fix it.
Mm.
So it's a step forward for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah. So
So,
hopefully that goes well. Before we jump off here, because we've been on for about 48 minutes to record. The recording shows 29 minutes, but yeah,
oh,
hey, that's just the way we go. An update on a couple different things. So I'd been asking about this for a while, and I got a very interesting email about our guy Gimmel Tribble in Christian County, who was observed on video abusing this dog, beating this dog. And what we had tried to find out for a while, and it was hard to figure out, was, is the dog okay, and what was the dog's name?
right.
That's always become very important to us, is what is their name and their story.
Yeah.
This dog's name was Bubba. And so we'll be
Oh.
following Bubba's story. I've got an email from a couple different people involved in Bubba's story that I'm hoping that I'll get some more information from. We are waiting. Have you seen any new date on him? He was in. He well, he asked. He waived his right, and he was going to a grand jury.
Yes, and I called Christian County this morning. They know me well in Christian County, and she said they are still waiting on a date for the grand jury. She said the
Uh,
grand juries meet only on Fridays, so
all right,
she was
so
hoping he was on the docket today.
all right, so hopefully on the docket for a grand jury. Hopefully, knock on wood. As the prosecutor, you just sit back and play the video, and you don't even say anything, and you just
Oh
say,
no,
you know.
right?
So hopefully
Yeah,
he gets indicted. Our guy here in Jefferson County, Demetrius Hebert.
Demetrius
Did we get a
Cash.
new date on him? That dog's name was Cash. Yes, thank you for mentioning
Yes,
that.
yeah. His new date is actually Monday,
Hmm.
Monday.
August
Okay.
the
So we will
4th.
definitely be in Jefferson County on Monday.
And it's another arraignment because he was indicted.
Right. So I'm still trying to understand the process.
Me
And
too.
Diana, you may know more about it than we do, but in Jefferson
No.
County, you get charged with something, you get an arraignment,
Yeah.
you get
Uh-huh.
some pre-trial conferences. You can, at that point, waive your right and go directly to a grand jury, or you can ask for uh, for the prosecutor to present some evidence to for the judge to decide is there enough evidence for it to go to a grand jury.
Grand
But then
jury.
once a grand jury indicts you, or well, let's say they do indict you, it starts back over again with an arraignment,
Right,
pre-trial
because
conferences, and as things go
you've
on,
now
you might
been
get a
charged.
status hearing. I mean,
Yeah,
what the
those
heck?
are the ones that confuse me, are the status
I mean,
hearings.
I
We
mean,
got
seriously, what we have to go to court for a status hearing? That should be a phone call.
I know, lots of status hearings. Like we know the status, we know what the
I mean,
charges.
seriously, we, we know the status. This dude should be in
We
jail.
do, but that's what they keep calling status hearing.
Right.
Some of them, lots of status hearings. But
Okay.
yes,
So before we get off of our first like experimental, can we bring folks in to ask questions and do different things? Do you guys have any other thing to offer to ask to anything? I don't want to get off without you guys having the opportunity to give some more insight into what's going on.
I a few things that I had written down that um where was it? Oh, Jeff, you have a heart of gold. I'm going to read it. Thank
Aw.
you for the dedication and love you put into everything you do. And Ethan, I love you and can't wait for the day I can finally meet you and get that very special photo. And thank you so much for this opportunity to talk with you. Is that Ethan?
Yeah.
yeah.
Hello, my baby. Hi, buddy. I call him my buddy. Hey, boy. I love you. And like, thank you again. I love you all. Great to see you. And I'm so sorry I look so ugly.
Oh, you
Well,
look
I
beautiful.
Next
thank you.
time, makeup and hair.
Well, thank you for the kind words and all of. I try to do my. Sometimes I'll walk away from something and forget, but I always want to try to remember to in any place that they give me the opportunity to speak to thank like Ethan's family. And from the very beginning, it meant so much to me everything that you guys uh, did to support him. That from the very beginning, I wanted to call these, family reunions because he had an extended family that goes way beyond Louisville and Kentucky and even the United States. There's just so many. What I like so much about the comments that I see about Ethan are the connections that people feel with him. It's not like, hey, this dog is up for this award. I really hope he wins. He's a cool looking dog. Or I'm going to vote for him. I like this story. It's always, those comments have always been the way that people connect with him. And that's always really meant, such a great deal to me. So
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you.
I was going to ask, do you have any more planned trips for the Ethan Kindness tour,
So we had talked about,
like North Carolina,
North,
Long Island.
and Long Island,
we,
East Coast, Diana?
there were
Yeah.
there were a couple things that were on the agenda, but I I hate to say that New York and North Carolina weren't on the list.
Oh,
We had
no.
talked with some folks
Aw.
about doing some things in West Virginia or Texas that we're still sort of working through. Um, but I do want to say uh, that people have reached out to me and said, "Hey, what's going on with this movie? What's new with this, or what's going on with that?"
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
There are always things to like to us. Ethan decided he was going to wake up and
Hi, boy. Hello,
Uh,
Hello,
baby.
Ethan.
there to us things it maybe seem slow, but I think in the movie business and they're like, oh, things are just moving along just fine. And so I think as that progresses, there'll be some opportunities to go different places for. It might be a movie premiere, or it might be something that's going on. So you never know.
yeah, yeah.
You just
Meanwhile, Heather and Diana, you two are spreading the kindness in the states
yep
that you all live
Oh,
in.
yes.
yep
I tell
That's
everybody about
right.
Ethan.
I know.
I wear
Yeah,
my tank top with the Ethan in the heart. I wear
yeah.
him every time I go to the beach or the
Aw.
pool. And
yeah.
I'm always saying, come on, somebody else has to know Ethan.
Well,
So far,
you just
no,
you
but
just keep going, Diana.
but I
You just
keep wearing my shirt.
Well,
yeah,
thank
love
you
it.
very much. Yeah, I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
that's cool.
Yeah.
All
You guys
right.
have anything, Heather or Marfa? You guys have anything?
I don't think so.
No.
Do you want to tell us a little bit of that event you're having tomorrow?
Oh, till tomorrow. Thank you. So, actually, tonight,
Yeah.
uh, there's
Oh.
a lot of things going on. So tonight, Jeffersonville, Indiana, is having an animal night at River Stage. So Jeffersonville is a city in Indiana, right on the river, right across from Louisville, Kentucky. They've got a river stage down there. So in the summertime, they have concerts and festivals and different things that happen down there. And this one is featuring animals, and any money raised goes to the local animal shelter. And so Ethan and I will be down there this
Oh,
evening
darling.
to support the local animal shelter. And then tomorrow at the local Moose Lodge, there is an Ethan Almighty activity event that benefits Ethan Almighty's blessings. Um, and that's at the Moose Lodge. It's $20 if anyone wants to get tickets. There's a link on Ethan's page. I'll put it out again today.
Or
Uh,
you can get a ticket at the door.
Ticket at the door. All the money goes to help animals in the community. And here's where I probably fail and don't. I love telling the stories, and I probably don't do a good enough job of talking about the animals that we help. This past Sunday
Yeah,
we did a spay neuter event for the community in combination with Louisville Metro Council and Metro Animal Services and Snip and Save Inc. And Ethan Almighty's blessings, so we could spay and neuter as many animals as we possibly could in the community. But every day, and this is where I need to do better. Every day I get requests from folks, and Debbie knows, because as a board, as an Ethan Almighty, as a 501c3 nonprofit, as a board, we have a group chat, and anytime that someone reaches out and says I need help, I send their story and what we're asking, financially wise, to the board for their approval. And I mean, every week there are so many animals that we are
many,
helping every week, and
yeah,
it's all because and all of that is financial. So it all comes from, we're able to help because of all the people that have supported and believe in what we do. That's the
yeah,
only reason we're even able to help, is because of everyone else.
yeah. And their stories are very touching. So just to think that anybody that donates any time, that your money is going to go help some animal that is in desperate need of vet services of some type. So
Yeah.
it's a
And people are so thankful for the help,
yeah.
and in so many cases offer to volunteer for something.
Mm,
When are you doing an event? I'd love to help volunteer. I can't help financially, but I want to help volunteer. And it was what drew me to that particular mission very early on, was working at the animal shelter. you just heard so many stories of people that had to surrender their pet or euthanize their pet because they didn't have the financial means
Yeah.
for the treatment that could help them. And
Mm.
it just seemed like it just seemed difficult. I couldn't imagine uh,
Not
having a
being able
pet
to
that I
pay.
loved and not and having to make a difficult decision because of finances. That
Yeah.
just struck me as so difficult. And so that's sort of the direction we went. And but it takes money. And the other good thing is we've gotten to the point where um, vet clinics and vets will reach out to us when they have someone there that there's a possibility that we could help, but they don't have the finances, or we'll tell that person, hey, have you heard of this
To reach out.
organization? Reach out to them.
Yeah.
and and it's really good. I think
We've got
it speaks. It's another thing that I'm very proud of. It speaks very well to when the city of Louisville decided, how can we do more with spay neuter, that they thought
and
of
they
Ethan's foundation. Yeah,
yeah.
that
Yeah.
means a lot to me. Yeah. So,
Yes, as it should. It
so
was a
a
wonderful.
long answer to your question of Marfay. Anyone that wants to come to the Moose Lodge tomorrow, for $20, you can come out
Please
to the Moose
come.
Lodge and support Ethan Almighty's blessings. And there'll
Yeah.
Oh,
be some good music there. There'll be some silent auction items there. I'll post a
They
link
have food,
a little bit later.
they
They'll
have
have
dinner.
food as an option there. It should
what's
Uh-huh.
be
the dress code? What's the dress
It,
code?
come as
oh,
you are.
it's they'll
Okay.
be in everything. We'll be in jeans, Marfay. There'll be people in dresses. There'll be people in sequins. It's a combination, but we're all in jeans. Come comfy. Have
I'll
fun.
be there in spirit.
All
Be a good time.
right.
And so, yeah, Diana, you should come down and visit Louisville, Kentucky sometime.
I'm definitely considering it.
Heather, you and your mom should come back again. And so
Oh, we're
our
coming in
I think our
December.
our experiment
Remember,
worked really
Chad's
well.
coming.
Yeah, that'll be a good time. Yeah. So
There you
our
go,
experiment
Diana. I'm
worked.
coming December.
It,
December? It's a good time.
and
That's
'cause
when Heather said she'll be here with her mom.
All right.
yeah, just
Maybe.
avoid the
At least
snow
it
and the
won't
ice.
be
Be
100
good.
degrees.
That's right.
So thank you all. At least I know, I think we had some good conversation, and folks, I know that if we want to do in the future, I can put the link out there, and we can have some folks call in, ask some questions about whether it's a case or about Ethan or whatever's going on. So thank you guys so much for participating, and
Thank
you
Yeah,
all
you.
thank
have
you.
Bye-bye.
a wonderful
I
weekend.
love you.